Welcome folks. Finally, an update to what happened with my unlawful arrest in Hastings. Sorry, this will be a boring video. Here I will show you all the documents related to my arrest. Just hit the pause to read. I will then go through these documents and explain what is going on, as there is quite a story to these. I will then do a final video for the conclusion of this matter. Just as a note for everyone, if you have an incident with police, always do an Official Information Act request for all the documents and videos relating to the incident. After getting all the documents and videos, I made a complaint to the IPCA. What a waste of time that was. More on that later. First document. This is a police reply to me regarding my complaint to the IPCA. There are errors of fact and law in this document. I will talk of this later. Second document. This is the IPCA reply to my complaint, just parroting the police letter. They are quite happy to overlook the errors in law and fact. There are also portions of my complaint that have been ignored. More on this later. Here is the custody sheet. Interesting stuff in this. Notice the person in custody. I never got this on the day. These are constable's notes made at the time. Always to get these as soon as possible, so they magically can't appear just before a court hearing. Here are my notes made at the time. I made these as soon as I got home. If you are involved in an incident, always pays to do this. This is the breath alcohol procedure sheet. Should be used on the side of the road. It is used in court as notes made at the time. If the constable had been using this, I would not have been arrested. Well done if you got this far. Okay, if you're a tiger for punishment, I'll go through and explain these documents with you. This is not legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. I was a constable for 8 years, a long time ago. I've had prosecuted lots of drunk drivers, worked in the watch house, and arrested lots of people. I can honestly say I've never pulled this crap on anyone. Okay, the police letter. I like to thank you, all those commenters who told me to go and read the Transport Act and said I didn't know what I was talking about. And I do not think I'm above the law. I just obey it. Well, let's start with Senior Constable Clinton. A senior constable is 15 years plus in service. As near as I could find out through public documents, he was about 17 years service at the time of my arrest. He is assigned to a tactical alcohol group. As you can see on the custody sheet that evening, he was acting sergeant. So his speciality is drink drivers and drink drive procedures. He should know what he is doing. As you can see, it was a false arrest. It's a bit rich of Senior Sergeant Foley to assume I would have complied and done a breath screening test. He should know you can refuse it. Re the not being told of the reason for the arrest. This was not part of my complaint. You can absolutely hear me on the video check on what I was arrested for, as I knew this was a false arrest and wanted to check my status. I couldn't believe it at the time. The senior sergeant is correct on the formal touch. I know I formally touched everyone I arrested. I made a point of it. Senior Constable claims he cautioned me while we were crossing the road, which we were out of hearing of the camera at the time. How convenient. Obviously, I claim he cautioned me in the car on the way back to the station. However, it's in his notes made at the time. He said he should have cautioned me when he asked my name. With regard to parking of my vehicle, at no time was the Apple Inn mentioned. As can be heard in the video, Senior Constable Clinton gave me confusing instructions as where to park, and at the end of the day, if Senior Constable Clinton was not happy with where I was parked, he could have directed me elsewhere, and I would have to obey as it's a lawful arrest and he has those powers. You notice in the video, he tells me to pull to the side of the road pointing to the left, then points to the right, which I did not see because I was looking up the road. This checkpoint was set up without any safe parking for offenders' vehicles. My vehicle was parked on a broken yellow line, on a busy road and meters away from a gang fight night that was taking place, at which trouble had already broken out. Parking in the Apple Inn entrance and blocking that, if that was the offending vehicle's parking place, the Apple Inn must have been asked by police to use. I'm sure they would have agreed to allow intoxicated gang members and their associates to park in their car park. The seizing of my keys and failure to release them to a fully licensed and sober driver. Senior Sergeant Foley's explanation is wrong. In fact, and law, Senior Constable Clinton has to have probable cause to think I am a disqualified or suspended driver. As can be seen in the video, he never asked for my name or license before he arrested me. If he did so, I would have given them. He asked after I was arrested. But as it was an unlawful arrest, I don't have to give him anything. Therefore, in my opinion, it's an unlawful and unreasonable seizure. Double locking the handcuffs. I will cover this in my next video, but I will say that the Senior Sergeant Foley should know better than to write this BS. It's a dodge of the matter, as you will see in the next video. Patrol car parking on the broken yellow line. Well, if the car was part of the checkpoint to slow vehicles down, it was removed to take me away to the station, leaving my family in the full onslaught of traffic until my return 30 minutes later. As for looking in the mirror, the video does not show he looked in the mirror. And it's no defence either. Remember this when you get a ticket for it. One set of rules for police, another for everybody else. As can be seen in Road User Rule 2004 Section 1.8, act or omission necessary in the execution of a person's duty was not indicating necessary for the execution of his duty. Could he have indicated and carried out his duty? You decide. In my opinion, he should have been ticketed. Why did the IPCA let this slide? As Senior Sergeant Foley states, my custody began when I walked across the road. What a load of rubbish. This is an error of law. My custody begins when Senior Constable Clinton says I'm under arrest. I'm pretty sure if I had run off when Senior Constable Clinton said I was under arrest, I would be charged with escaping custody, for sure. Diagonally crossing the road is acceptable, is it? My safety and welfare are the constable's responsibility. He says in his notes made at the time that he is hard of hearing. I am too. Land Transport and Road User Rule 2004, Section 11.4, crossing a roadway. A pedestrian who crosses a roadway should cross at right angles to the curb or side of the roadway. Did Senior Constable Clinton do this? No, he didn't. And it appears to be okay with Senior Sergeant Foley. My daughter. Really, it was my now son-in-law. I stated that in my complaint. It's in Senior Constable Clinton's notes made at the time. It was a male. I disagree with the "I stopped" comment. Asking questions about alcohol. Any admission here can be used in court. I should have been cautioned again. Regarding speaking to a lawyer, I asked 3 times to speak to a lawyer and was refused. Senior Constable Clinton claims he apologised to me. I claim he did not. I offered to shake Senior Constable Clinton's hand, but he claims he did not see me. Having worked in the watch house and the custody suite, you are very aware of offenders' actions and their movements of their hands and feet. I find it not plausible that he did not see me offer my hand. This is hardly the actions of a person acting in good faith. In my opinion, he was just too butthurt to accept a handshake. Several matters were left out of the police and IPCA response. Can be seen in the custody sheet. A charge of failing to accompany. As can be seen in this video, Senior Constable Clinton taps Senior Sergeant Gilmore and they go off to have a chat. As you can see, Senior Constable Clinton returns and enters a charge of failing to accompany. I know the screen. This is the format that all the charges are laid out. He has selected failing to accompany. He must know he never required me to accompany him. It was only 10 to 15 minutes ago. Yet he can stand in front of a court 3 to 6 months later and definitely say he required a person to accompany him. You have to question the safety of his previous convictions. This is a false charge. This is the most repugnant thing about this whole incident. Entering a false charge against someone is absolutely disgusting. And in my opinion, it's a crime. Conspiring to make a false accusation, or at least filling in a police documentation falsely, according to the police conduct, a dismissible action. To all you police bootlickers out there, if you think this kind of behaviour is okay, you need to have a good look at yourselves. In my opinion, Senior Constable Clinton should no longer be in the job. Another matter on the custody sheet. I noticed they say I was intoxicated to a moderate level, yet they gave me my keys back to drive. So they, according to their documentation, put an intoxicated driver back on the road, again falsely filling out police documentation. There is a lot more to this, which I will cover in the next video. Okay, here is a long boring video I received from Senior Constable Deb Collins. Now, in my opinion, I believe the video has been altered. If you watch the timestamp on the top, it jumps around, jumps forward and backwards, and there are actually 9 seconds of the video missing. In my opinion, this was done to break up the movements of Senior Constable Clinton as he sought advice from the sergeant. He returned and entered the false charge. The IPCA would not investigate this. If there are any clued up video people out there, how about commenting and letting me know how a video camera like that can error and make the video jump around. The way I understand it is that there could have been a caching problem where it would pause, but jumping around when you edit videos, it's a linear thing. You take one piece out and put it somewhere else. I can't see how a camera or storage device would do that. Please, if anyone would comment. Thanks for watching.